Hello.
Hi guys, it's M. So feel free to join in. I'm just going to be setting up a few things real quick before we get started, and I'll go ahead and probably do a screen share for most of my time. If I sound weird or you can't hear me right, just let me know. I'm in a little phone booth thing that we have at our new location, so it's a little weird time-wise or sound-wise. All right, more people are slowly joining in. Okay, so just make sure something's working right here. All right. Okay, is everyone here? Who wants to be here? I'll check on iWire. All right. I think that we have everyone who is needing to be here. Okay. Wrong use of the hear that. Oops. I can type. Okay. All right. Hopefully everyone has come in then who would like to be here. All right. So most of you know me as sorek.m on the chat channel. I usually go by M, so if you've emailed me in support or something, that's the same person. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to give you a basic overview of the new tools you're going to be having and kind of just show you a little bit of the ropes. If you have any questions, I will be screen sharing the whole time, so please ask in iWire chat. Because otherwise I can't see this hangout window in the background. It's not as convenient. And then, so as we go along, I'll explain stuff out, and then we'll do a little bit of questions at the end. It's going to be basics, not too in-depth, but it should be enough for it as it is. All right, so now that you are a scout or a scythe, if you're a scythe, you already kind of know what's going on, but you'll have a fancy toolbar. And let's go ahead and jump on over to that screen right now. And I'm going to go ahead and do that, and you guys should be able to see that all good. Okay, so just to go over basics, I figure most of you already know how to kind of move around in the overview, but a lot of initial reading and editing that is done from the overview. In the case of admins, we do most of it from the overview. So if you have a cell in front of you, basically to zoom in, just scroll in and out on the cell. You use your right click and drag to pan the cell across your screen, like so. To select a cube, let's say I want to look at this cube right over here, this area, I'm going to hit Shift and left click, and that's going to jump me right to that cube. As you can see, it's now highlighted in the overview, which is very handy for looking at things. The other thing is when I selected that cube, you notice that there is some information that pops up at the bottom of the screen. Just as a side note, I'm working from my admin account. I know my Scout account is being a little buggy right now, so I apologize. So you will not have these two purple buttons in your toolbar. Down at the bottom, that's for admins when we say a branch is complete and kind of speed along the completion process. What you will have is you'll have these 15 ancestors and children and a cube ID number and the weight. So basically when I select a cube, it shows me what the cube ID number is, and then It also shows me how many people have kind of voted on that cube. So it shows that basically 3 people have traced this cube right now. I'm going to go over the weight system in a little bit, just so you can understand how that works in iWire's kind of framework. The other thing is these show ancestors and children. Basically, I can show, in this case I've chosen the end of a branch, so it has no children, which means any cubes that come after this cube. But if I show 15, it'll show me everything that came before this cube. So you can see what branch kind of led up to this cube. Now let's see here, I'm going to shift select onto a cube in the middle of a branch, and you can see if you have any questions, just remember to type it in iWire chat. You can use /GM scouts and type your message here.
Can you hear if we talk?
I just want to keep going on. I guess I can hear you okay. I just don't want to have too much confusion happen. Okay, so where is it going? Ancestors and children. So if I want to, I can turn off the ancestors for this cube, and then I show 5 children. You can see the children from this. So this is kind of just your general overview look that you see. Another thing that you can do when you are in overview is when I select on a cube, you'll notice it centers my cell around that cube area, and now I rotate around it. So when I left click and basically drag across the screen, I rotate around it. Another thing you can do is if you hit Alt left click, that'll recenter you to a new area. So if you don't want to select a cube there or something, you can just kind of Alt click along a branch if you desire. So those are the basic overview movements that kind of occur. Now we'll get into what exactly a scout can do in terms of more tools here. So I'm going to shift click on a branch here. Let's look at this. And you'll see there's an inspect button. In order to look inside the cube and see what's going on exactly in it, I'm going to hit inspect, and that's going to take me right into the cube. It brings it right up. This is similar to when you're playing, and basically, you can go through and look at it. One thing is usually the colors will be the same. When you look in inspect a cube, where the seed will be this dark blue color, and then the added kind of submissions are this light blue color. As submissions get more and more less weight on them, they'll be pinker and pinker. Let me see if I can find a cube like that. I'm not sure if we have one around. That might be as contentious. Oh, this one's good. All right, let's see. Okay, here we go. This is what I was describing. So in this cube, we have our dark blue seed piece, right? That's what the computer gives us. And then this little tiny segment has been added by not so many people, so it's pinker. So the pinker and the more red a segment is when you inspect a cube, the newer it is, so the most recently created or added it's been, or the less basically players have submitted that segment as an actual segment. Now, this is where I'm going to talk about the weight system. So every player has a weight of 1. So when they submit a cube, they have a 1.0 weight. To overcome like problems like mergers or such, admins have a completely higher weight. So when we actually reap a cube and say this cube has been edited, we'll take out a merger or add a branch in, we add a weight of 1,000,000 to that cube. So you'll see when you go into the overview that some cubes may have a weight of 1,000,000 down here. Now, the Scouts, you have the ability to flag a cube to say that needs to be edited or there's something wrong with it, there's a merger in it. Scythes have a weight of 2 when they reap a cube, and this is just so they can overcome any errors that may be present. So everyone has a weight of 1, Scythes have a weight of 2 when they edit the cube, and admins have a weight of 1,000,000. So that's kind of how weight plays in to when you look at a cube. So as I was saying, when you're in a cube, the redder it is, the less weight that segment may have, so the less votes or people who have submitted have. Now, how do I know what's been going on in this cell? What I'm going to do is I'm going to hit escape. That's always going to take me back to this initial bar here. And this initial bar, when I don't have any cubes selected in the overview, has a heat map here, which will give you an option of a few different heat maps. There's an intensity slider, don't worry about that. And then there's a jump to cube. So you'll see people report cube IDs or something like that saying I have problems in cube 644 or 321 or something. You can actually jump to that cube. So one thing is let's see, this is 611414. So I can go, all right, someone reported something, 661-414. It's going to jump me right to that cube, and as you can see, it selects it and brings it up into the overview. Then I can choose to inspect that cube. So going back, I'm going to hit escape always to get back to this kind of jump to cube menu anytime I want to deselect something. The heat maps are where we have the most important thing. The first heat map that you'll have on your toolbar is the created heat map. Here is what I was explaining before, that newer is always redder and older is always bluer. In the case of the created heat map, you slide it all the way over to the left. This basically brings up more contrast for you, and you can see that one of the last branches growing out here is this pink one down here. All right, this more red color, and that these branches here are older and haven't been played. They are older. Now that's kind of a fun heat map to look at things just to see where things are growing. But the main heat map you will always be using is Scythe Vision. Ignore the 2 other ones, I just skipped over them. Those are admin ones. The Scythe Vision, as you can see, has multicolors on here, but they explain kind of several things that are going on. You will not be seeing this green duplicate color. That's for admins again. I apologize. I did not have my Scout account ready for this in time. Alright, so basically there's a legend down here, and it shows you kind of what color corresponds to what. So a blue branch here means that nothing's been edited on it, nothing's been done to any of these cubes, and these have been, per se, inspected or edited. A yellow cube, which we don't have on this, is what you will have as a scout. Pardon me, a scout. So when let's say this this cube right here, we inspect it. There is something wrong in here, and you'll have a flag button. All right, it'll say flag, not reap, and you say, you know what? This branch looks really weird to me. I'm going to flag it. So when you hit flag, what it's going to do is it'll turn this cube yellow in the overview, so it'll be yellow. Now, where a scythe has been, it is the orange color. So what's happened is, as you can see, the weight is really high on this cube. And that's probably because the scythe has edited it a couple times. So orange is where scythes have done some editing. Red is where we have been and have edited, and that is an admin thing. So if I click on this cube, you can suddenly see that there's a weight of 1,000,000 down here, and that we have obviously edited something inside of it. 1,000,000 basically means that it will not be assigned to anyone anymore, and no one should be getting those cubes, because basically the system knows that not to assign such high weight to anyone. It says, oh, everyone's been traced on this. The dark purple, that is corresponding to my admin purple buttons here, and that is basically how we say, this branch, we've checked it, we say it's complete, it looks all good, it's ended, no one play on it anymore. So when we complete a branch, it means that no one plays on it. Scythes have something called Scythe complete. I'm going to move to another cell to see if we can find that on, let's look at an older mystery here. Let's see, has anyone, nope, this one, nothing's been happening on this cell. All right, maybe, well, okay, sorry about this. I was hoping we'd have a better cell, but all right, I don't see any. All right, so a scythe can say, oh, here we go. Here's an example. There we go. They can say a branch is complete, but they won't actively lock out anyone from it. So basically, Scythe complete is a tool for Scythe to say, hey, guess what? I looked at this branch, admin, it's complete. So it is this light purple color. Okay? So you'll see light purple on there as well. That just means that a Scythe has been there and says, I think this is complete. Now, if you don't agree with them, that's perfectly fine. You can say, actually, I think cube 66839 is incomplete. All right. So if you see the Scout chat right now, they're talking about Scythe completing on a cell. So one thing you can do is when you're looking at cells, always remember you can choose cells and explore. And as you saw, it'll keep my Scythe vision active the whole time. Okay, so what do we do when we find something that we've flagged? One thing you can do is you can say, report it in chat asking if any Scythes are online, and say, you know, I think this cube really needs to be edited or something. But let's see here. This looks like a good one. So let's go in and inspect this cube. It's got a tiny little nub, and it looks like, oh, somebody missed maybe a continuation here. So we'll go ahead and look and say, all right, someone missed a continuation. I'm going to flag this. What I'm going to do is you're going to have an email, and in this email we will give you access to this thing called a Scouts log. And I'm hoping you guys can see that now. Okay, excellent. So the Scouts log is where we record what cubes are what. And this is a way for you to say, I've flagged this cube and I think the trace is X, all right, is whatever it is. And this is a way that Scythes say that as well. So when you first go into the Scouts log, just kind of, this is just an updates kind of thing on how to do things. Where you'll be is you'll be working on the new Scouts tab at first. And this is where you're going to be putting in your entries. So we looked at this cube here in iWire, and we said, all right, we're going to just say, for argument's sake, that this is missing a little nub. All right, it's missing a nub. What I'm going to do is I'm going to look at my cube ID here, 66949. I'm going to go into the Scouts log. I'm going to put that cube ID in here. So 66. Why is it grayed out? I don't know why it's grayed out. Pardon me. 666,949. 949. I'm going to say, all right, what's the cell name? All right, this was on, let's see here, 126B is what I'm working on. Another thing is if you type /debug into the chat, this will also bring up another number. I will explain that. So it's cell 800 as well. Just a quick thing, we name cells certain names for the countdown. In our database, cells have a different number, which is why you see this different number up here in the /debug. So by typing /debug in a chat, I make this upper window up here appear and disappear. Okay, and if I go into Scouts log, I'm going to say, all right, this was 126B, and then I'm going to say, all right, this is me, and then there's a status. Here in the status, you can say, all right, there's a variety of different things. You can say it's a good cube, maybe somebody's fixed the problem in it. You can say there's a missing branch, there's a missing nub, there's a merger in it, it's still growing. You need somebody to look at it. Say it's a seed merger. If it's a seed merger, I'd say it was an admin. Okay. If it's you know, a cube I'm not so sure about. Let's say I played it in regular regular play, and I said, you know what, I really am not quite so sure about this. I think people are going to have trouble with this black spill. So maybe I'll put it into the Scouts log and say, watch this cube. All right, it's a black spill. People are going to have trouble. In this case, we're going to record this cube. It was a missing nub. Let's say I can take a quick screenshot of inside the cube here. Put that screenshot link up here. You're only going to put one link. If there's already a link in here, then you'll need to put it in another column. This is just so that way when I click here, it easily takes me to the link. If I put multiple links in here, then the hyperlink won't work. Then I can say comment like missed nub at end of branch ends in cube. All right, so I can say no. And then more experienced scouts and scythes, they can say something to you. Once you've gotten the hang of using the scouts log, you'll graduate off using the new scouts tab here. So I'm just going to delete my entry here. Just so you can kind of know what the other tabs are. Scythe complete is for the scythes. That's kind of where they record where they are maybe working on completing something. A lot of times this is just done verbally in chat. Now here we have a sheet for each cell that is currently live on iWire. And as you notice, remember I was talking about 126B having that /debug number of 800 in the upper chat. That is what also corresponds in the Scouts log here. So you'll see this kind of other number behind here. That's just, like I said, it's for the database. So in the admin database, it has a different number. Okay, and as you can see, there's different entries in here. So lottery discounts here has said there's a missing branch. And if I click on this imager picture, it'll show where she says, all right, there's a missing branch in this cube. It needs to be traced in. All right. So that's basically kind of what the Scouts log are. Other Scouts and Scythes can help you figure out what needs to be. It's pretty straightforward. You put in your cube ID, username, status, picture if you can, and then whatever is going on in that cube. All right. So that's kind of what flagging is. So one thing to note is when you're playing and you notice that a cube is kind of weird or you get a 20-pointer, you can copy that cube ID and then go ahead and search for it again to see what quite was wrong. So I'm going to get rid of this debug menu. Sometimes you may get a lower point or something like that when you look in the overview. It may have a really low weight. So sometimes we have cubes that, as you can see, this has a weight of 0. No one's ever played this cube yet. So we don't want to flag it yet or do anything to it yet because no one's submitted anything on it. For cubes to grow, for weight, players must, oh goodness, they're discussing mute. Players, basically, in mystery cells, there need to be 3 traces submitted for a cube, and that would be a weight of 3. So that's why there's a weight of 0 here, and nothing's growing. But you can see that this weight of 3, something's growing. In lightning cells, there needs to be a weight of 2 for the next cube to grow. So this just enables lightning cells to grow slightly faster. They tend to be more difficult and sometimes larger than mystery cells. Mystery cells, as you know, are assigned to the less advanced players. They're easier, so we kind of require a little higher weight just to make sure that everything is caught with each submission. So that's growth. And then, as you probably have already figured out, you're going to constantly be using the Scouts chat, and you'll just type /GM Scouts and say hello. And then let me answer some of your questions. All right, Kinryu. When I hit flag, it does not automatically bring up email and Scouts log. What you'll need to do is it'll flag. When it flags, it will take you just back to the overview. So let's just, for argument's sake, I reap this cube. All right, so pretend I flagged this cube, right? All right. I flagged the cube. It took me right back to the overview. It basically asked me if that's okay. And then what I'll do is I'll say, all right, I flagged this cube. I'm going to go to the log. Typically speaking, what I do is I go in, when I decide I want to flag, I'm going to take a picture first, and then I will go back and fully hit the flag button, and then I'll check to make sure everything's correct in the Scouts log. Okay. All right. Any other questions? I'm sorry if I missed something. There's so much going on in the chat right now. I'm scrolling around here. All right. We have a manual that we've sent out with information on what all the columns mean and such like that. All right. I can ask any other questions. As I said, this was just a very, kind of brief orientation overview. The most common buttons are going to be shift left click on a cube. You're going to use the escape button if you need to jump to a cube and deselect that cube in overview. And then you'll probably always be clicking on your heat map to bring up Scythe vision. All right. You can feel free to talk now if you have a question. I just wanted to get through. I know it was a lot of information. As I said, the email breaks it down for you. And as you know.
Okay, how about mentioning parentheses for Scouts in the log?
Me. Oh, sorry. I think I accidentally got muted. I apologize. I was saying for the Scouts log, a Scout should put their name in parentheses when you flag a cube because you weren't able to edit in the cube. And then a Scythe will come along and put their name afterwards when they reap the cube, or when an admin reaps a cube, we'll put it in the admin comment channel. So as you can see here, Ma'am was a Scout. She put her name in parentheses when she flagged the cube, and then Black Blues, a Scythe, came along and edited it. All right. Explore mode is very common to use in when you are in a cube. So if I inspect this cube, which I realize has a wall trace, that's something you can use to add in. I forgot about these show parent and children buttons here, and I apologize. They are very handy. Show parent will show you the branch before the cube, so as you can see the branch before the cube. And show children will show what's growing from it. So when you have mergers, typically speaking, you will show children to see if that is indeed the parent of the merger. In this case, that's not a problem, but when you show parent, you can kind of see what's missing. So in our case, there's a wall trace, little minor wall trace here that's missing. One thing I can do is I can turn on explore mode, use that to highlight in green what colors. Let's see if I can find this trace over here. There it is. And so I can color in my color. And then Then what I would do is I would take that screenshot now, saying, all right, cube, blah, 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 missing wall trace in green, and then I would flag the cube if needed, and then go about my merry business. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and commit this and reap it in because it's a Reaper weight. I personally don't use...
Did you say we'd be getting an email?
Yes, yes, you will be getting an email with a manual.
Okay, because it hasn't come yet, but...
Okay, that's my other coworkers are working away on that. Hopefully everyone has a current updated email. If you have not, email support, and we will make sure we forward that along to you. Okay, any other questions anyone has, or anything I didn't cover that you feel I should have covered? Let me know. It looks like I would jump to
Jumping to parent or jumping to child?
Yes, sorry. I honestly, I haven't been reaping lately. I've been working on a lot of other side projects, such as lovely swag for everyone. So I'm forgetting some of the important tools. All right, when we do show parent children in your cube when you are inspecting it, you can shift-click on the yellow. That's going to select that cube. You can see the number right down here. And you can just go ahead and jump, and that's going to jump me right into the next cube over, and I can look at it and say, oh, yay, this is the child, which probably has a missing nub here. Ooh, a missing nub. So it's very handy. You can always, you know, show parent and jump back to that cube that you were last in.
The difference between a branch and a nub?
Hmm?
The difference between a branch and a nub?
Okay, difference between a branch and a nub. Let's see if we have any good examples here. All right, so there's a lot of discussion as to when things are missing certain things. So this is a seed piece. Why is this? That's missing stuff. All right. This is a seed piece that's missing some things. As you can see, there's a lovely gap right in here. This is what you would call like a missing piece. But if it's so small that, you know, it's not as pertinent to, let's just say that this little piece right here was missing. Now you wouldn't necessarily need to report that cube or flag that cube. The hope is eventually it would get filled in. Basically, the reason why we say that is we're looking at, you know, the structure as a whole of the branch, and if there's a tiny little piece of dust missing in the branch, it's not, you know, detrimental to the science as a whole, basically. So that's sometimes why maybe you get into cubes and it's missing little bits of dust. This is really common along those really thick branches. But the key is you want to make sure that the dust does not turn into a nub or a branch. A nub is something that's kind of small, and as we had looked at before, it was kind of just like the end of something. Sorry. It's always tough to do a live demo without having cubes ahead of time. Alright, so this is where we would report, let me turn Explore mode off, a missing branch, right? Because this continues. So this would be a missing branch issue, per se. Something smaller that comes off this branch area would be a nub. And generally speaking, if it's, I usually say if it's missing a whole branch, you definitely want to report it. If it's missing a nub that is really tiny and minute, report it, but I wouldn't worry as much. Like I said, if most of the nub is there, so let's say, you know, you forgot like the end cap on a branch, then I would be worried in general. lots of information. And please tell me if I've forgotten something else. We go over it in the manual, and feel free to always ask in Scout chat as it goes. Rachel is going to be doing another more in-depth training tonight at 7 p.m. and it will also be broadcast live and recorded, so you can feel free to watch that. We both have done previous orientation trainings that are, I believe, up on the iWire YouTube page as well, and they are previous hangouts from old promotions, and they explain a lot of this information again. I definitely have to say I've rambled during this one, so I apologize for that. Any other questions, concerns? All right. I'm gonna stop screen sharing then. Just get used to orientating yourself around, and the nice thing is when you see something that's wrong in a cube, or it's going to be particularly tricky, you can take note of it now and say, hey, someone needs to look at this. That's usually the most handy thing that occurs. We are actually currently working on making more kind of intuitive user interface toolbar for you to use. So that's in the works right now. Anything else? Questions? No? Okay. All right. It's good to see you all, and thank you for listening to me explain, Scout and how it works in iWire. I know it's a lot of information, but I find that with every time you rehear the information, it gets easier and easier to know what's happening. And when you use the tools, it'll be a lot more understandable what's going on when you actually practice with them. The great thing is, it's a great way to kind of enhance your ability to contribute to science. So, all right. I will sign off then. Good to see everyone. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.